Welcome, everybody, to this one time at summer camp. I am one of your hosts, John Davidson. I've got with me Jeff Thompson. Fun fact about Jeff Thompson, he has 2 kids, both of them named after Pokemon from the 90s. And I've also got with me Aaron Kalwick. Fun fact about Aaron Kalwick, the guitar that you see in the background, signed by the Dora the Explorer. And this is that one time at summer camp today. That's just us lovely 3 folks here. Our get to know you question: if you could meet any cartoon character, see how I wove that in there? Any cartoon character from your childhood and spend a day with them, who would it be?
Oh, easy. I've got it.
I do too.
I would spend the day with my childhood hero, Michelangelo, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Oh, good choice.
Because he's the party dude. And that just sounds like a ton of fun. He would take me like on all the cool sites. Like he might be the one that's like a little irresponsible with the day of like, nah, you want to be a ninja for a day? You want to go like tackle some foot soldiers? Let's go do it. Whereas like any of the other ones would probably be like, nah, that's too dangerous. Hands down, that'd be amazing.
Did you say who you are?
Jeff? Who are you?
This is the second week in a row.
I got so excited about the potential of meeting Michelangelo. That'd be amazing. My name's Aaron Kalwick. I'm a former program director for Briarwood Retreat Center and Bishop Stoney Camp and Conference Center. Currently working at a couple of churches, and I am happy to be here. Thanks for reminding me, Jeff.
Speaking of Jeff, I am Jeff. Yeah, there we go. I'm the current program director at Lutherdale, Wisconsin. I also work at Sugar Creek in Wisconsin. And Wisconsin. Yeah,
okay.
The greatest state.
You said Ohio.
No, that's Iowa, John. Come on.
Oh yeah.
It's funny that John mentioned that I named my kids after Pokemon, because if I could spend, was it a day with any character? Is that what this was?
Yeah, a day.
Yeah, it would be Ash Ketchum, hands down. Pokemon was my favorite game growing up, show growing up, and I've always wanted Pokemon to be real because I think that'd be super legit.
Why wouldn't you hang out with a Pokemon? You're just hanging out with
because
the dude
Ash has all the Pokemon. Like, if you hang out with him, do you know how many Pokemon he's caught? Like,
probably 151.
No,
I've heard
he's got them all.
Caught them all.
He did.
The dragon
he
one,
could
the bulb
throw any
one.
Pokemon he wants.
He caught them all.
Who are you, Mr. Man, talking with this beautiful face?
Oh, look at that glorious handlebar.
Oh.
No, that's a horseshoe, not a handlebar. I'm sorry.
Hello, everyone. I am John Davidson. I am the former program director at Luther Heights Bible Camp in the beautiful state of Idaho. Just believe me, don't come here. Yes, that is my mustache from 2013. Oh, man, I look so good.
Oh, no.
Bring it back, John. Bring it back.
I am currently working as a associate for a home improvement store.
Oh my gosh! One more clue into the
way. The mystery's unraveling.
You get that reference? We were talking about 90s characters.
It's for Binford Tools. Is that what you work for?
Yeah. Another 90s reference there. The one character that I would spend my day with would be Batman from the 90s.
Oh, that's a good answer.
The super slimmed out, but like,
you talk about you talk about like Kevin Conroy in the animated series.
Yeah. He has his shoulders clear up to his ears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Batman. Dude, Batman. That's like the definitive Batman, because like Mark Hamill's the Joker, Kevin Conroy is Batman. Like it's the best.
Right. Yeah. Save the best for last. All right. Thank you both for sharing with us. We're going to go ahead and move on to Aaron with our hack.
Oh, there you go. Our hack for this week is very simple. This is for all of you program directors out there, or people having to run and manage your staff. I know this summer obviously looks different than any other summer you've run, but this is just something to keep in your back pocket. Something we started pretty late into my outdoor ministries career, but it saved a lot of grief. I don't know how many of what your camp is like and what your weekend life is like for your counselors and their time off. Hashtag last week's podcast. But one of the things that we would do to kind of make sure, especially if you have staff that are going to go do different things and manage that, is we would basically put up a whiteboard and be like, okay, what are people's plans this weekend if you want to share that? And so it'll be like this one person might be like, dude, I've been jonesing for sushi all week, so I'm going to go to this sushi restaurant. Anybody is welcome to come. If nobody comes, that's okay. I'm going to go get sushi. And somebody else is like, cool, I hate seafood. I'm going to go get steak if anybody wants to go get steak with me. And it'll be one of those things. And we would tell people, like, you don't have to make your plans public. Like, if you and two of the people that you've gotten really close with here at camp are planning on going do something, then go do that. But you don't need to also like be like, nah, we're ditching you guys. We're going to go hang out together. Like, kind of keep it to yourself and be courteous of that. And at the same time, don't pressure people to come. The other reason we did that is because we hired international counselors. And so that way they have a broad idea of what's happening that weekend, because they don't have a vehicle and they don't know the area and they don't really know anybody except those counselors. And so it kind of opened the avenue up for them. And I tell you what, when we started that, it made it so much easier to figure out weekend stuff, and a lot less feelings were hurt of like, oh, I didn't know we were going out to dinner. Idea. So there you go.
I have a question with that. So a few weeks back, we had Courtney on, and Courtney told us a great story about, we'll call him Logan, and how they had their Camp Goggle summer fling. So and true. I'm making an assumption here, but I bet those two never wrote their names on the whiteboard. Like, they always had their own plans.
I got to tell you, I had not started this.
No, you could throw them under the bus. They didn't write their name on the board.
No, no. There was no board to write their name on. But I will say,
so they did.
That was a summer that, like, it was a smaller staff, and so pretty much like every weekend, everybody did everything. Kind of, they all went to Walmart. They all went to go get lunch. They all came back to camp and did Bible study together, I assume.
They all walked into the woods and professed their love for one another.
Yeah, that's what they all did. Oh, Logan, why?
Oh no. That's a great hack. We also had a very small staff at Luther Heights, and so when 5 or 6 people got together and said, yeah, we're going to go into town and have sushi, which was totally a thing, that left like 4 people back at camp.
Yeah.
You know, and so it was much easier for it to kind of, for people's feelings to get hurt and for people to feel left out.
Well, and then there's
so
things
I think that
like,
would work out great.
Yeah, one of the big ones that happened was like when movies come out in the summer, you have all your summer blockbusters, and I remember like all the Marvel movies would come out, like Guardians 2 came out, and they're like, we're gonna go watch. Like what I would do is like, I know people are gonna go to watch the latest Marvel movie, so I would say like, hey, we're gonna go. The plan is to go tomorrow afternoon. If you want to go, text me, pay me, and I'll buy all the tickets. And I would basically do like, if the tickets were $10, I'd charge them like $7, right, and help them out a little bit because they're poor, and so I would do that, and that was a great bonding experience for them. Yeah. Poor and relative of what we pay them.
Right. Cool.
I don't know. I gave my staff diamond earrings each week as a paycheck. So.
We don't have that potatoes money. Yeah.
What is that you're pouring in there?
One of my favorite donors up at camp brings a truckload of sacks of potatoes to camp.
I knew it.
Those are the potatoes that we eat all summer long.
So good.
The best. And they're so good. Like Potato Alley here in Idaho.
I found out.
So good.
I found out last week you are not, however, the biggest producer of potatoes in the country.
You liar.
It's Iowa.
Fake news.
No, it's real. I looked it up. It's real. I couldn't believe it. I doubted somebody, and they were like, no. And I was like, I don't know. My friend John tells me, like, Idaho potatoes rule the world over here. It's like, they wish they had our numbers. And I looked it up, and John, your state's slacking, man.
Quantity never outdoes quality. Just saying.
Oh man.
No, okay.
Anyways.
So funny story on top of that, and then we'll get back on track here. I was like, I'm getting out of here. When I was in high school, I'm getting out of here. I'm not gonna worry about this place anymore. I'm gonna go to school in Maine. So I picked this way out there school in Maine, and I show up there, and they are the #1 potato producer in the whole Northeast in that county.
You can take the potato out of Idaho.
The boy out of the potato, but you can't take the potato out of the boy.
Goodness
Oh,
gracious.
goodness. Well, thanks for that, Aaron.
You're welcome. I don't know how we got here.
From hacks to potatoes.
Oh,
That's going to be our book that comes out later. All right. Jeff, I believe you have a tale to tell us.
That I do. So this is a story from a program director perspective. So if you're a cabin leader, camp counselor listening, you might not have as much input on this, but most program directors, you can probably relate to this. So I'm going to set the scene a little bit. We had a group of campers come one summer, and they're campers from inner city life, and our camp is not based there. It's just a different population, and they have a different culture. They have a different way of interacting with each other and expressing themselves, and we know that, and we see that and respect that. So we had this group of kids on site, and during the week they were here. The first time they were here, there ended up being a fight break out between them, like fists thrown at each other in the middle, right at the end of worship, and we had to break that up. But
in the middle of worship?
Yeah.
Man, what were you preaching on that day?
What difference of a song lyric were they disputing?
No, what it ended up being
chugga,
is...
Chugga, chugga, chugga,
chugga. 3 chuggas!
One of the boys, for them, like, their names and their reputation were really important. And for one of them, another boy was speaking bad about his name, and he just wasn't having it. So they got in a fight. And I was talking with one of the boys, like, he just walked off by himself. So I just walked after him just to see what he's doing. I talked to him for a while, just trying to help calm him down. I want to say this was like Tuesday night, and they were here till Friday. But all week we're trying to work with them, and they were just swearing at each other. They were getting physical with each other. There was no more fights, but like, it was just a tense week. At the end of that, my staff members that worked with it, like, they were drained. They were exhausted. And this church, their youth director was at camp, but he's a great youth director, but he shows a lot of grace and forgiveness, and he doesn't really lay down the hammer when you need to. So he was just trying to, like, next time you're going home, that kind of attitude, but it was always next time you're going home, next time you're going home. Yeah. So this happened one summer, and then the following year, the group came back, and they came back, and we kind of knew about them already because we had them once. We knew who they were. The 2 boys that got in the fight did not come back. We did not. The youth director said, "You guys can't come back to camp for 1 year. You have to take a year off." So the rest of the boys, there are 9 of them. They got split up into 2 different cabins, and by kind of like the 2 friend groups, because we knew, like, the older boys and the younger boys kind of had some tension with each other. So we separated them into 2 different cabins. And the first night they get here, like, you can tell they're excited to be at camp and all of that, and they're a little rowdy. They're not really listening to directions. They're talking during worship and things like that. There's some swearing and some things like that, but it's not horrible at this point in time. I was hanging out with them during some field time. They were playing basketball. Like, they were great. They were just having a blast. And everything's fine and dandy. So the next morning, I wake up and I have a text message for one of my staff. And he says the police showed up at 6 a.m. because someone called 911.
Oh, no.
And this is about 7:30 when I saw my phone. I didn't see it right away when I got up. And I was like, well, I'm going in for breakfast soon, so I'm just going to talk to him then. So I go in and talk to him, and he explains the police showed up at this cabin. They traced the call. No one talked to them. They just got a call. They traced it. Yep, they traced it. They had the phone number. They gave it to us. And then where they went was the cabin of half of these boys. I should also add this. So half of them, they were split up in two groups this summer. Half of them, the counselor they had was their same counselor from the year before. So he was kind of having like a little PTSD having to work with this group again. They like traumatized him and all that, which I get. That's very valid. They were a difficult group.
For sure.
So the police showed up at 6 o'clock, 5:40, and then they knocked on the door, and he went and found another staff who texted me. So I went and found this cabin leader in the morning, and I was like, hey, tell me what's going on. Like, what happened last night? And he said that the boys were up. He couldn't get them to bed. They wouldn't go to sleep. At about 3 a.m., he woke up, and they were running around the cabin. And then at 5:40, he woke up to a police knocking on his door. They were still up. And then he said at about 7:30, he woke up to campers dumping water on him and waking him up in his bed. So his whole bed is soaked. His pillow, sleeping bag, everything is soaked.
This is not funny.
No, it's
I'm
not.
Laughing.
It's so.
Oh,
This is the same youth director that
You can't say it's not funny while I'm laughing. That's just rude.
No. So this is all like I'm hearing all this at breakfast, and I'd interacted with the group, so I kind of knew a little bit about these kids. He had 5 boys in his cabin. I knew all of their names. Like I knew who kind of was doing what. And this was a youth director that was just kind of like, next time you're going home, and he wanted them to be at camp, and he wanted them to be there, and did not want to like reprimand them for anything. So I'm gonna leave it there. That's what's happened. I'll kind of recap it a little bit. Boys from a year before with a history of being violent and being physical have come back. Someone in the cabin called 911 in the middle of the night when they're not supposed to have phones. They were up all night goofing around, and they dumped water on the cabin leader. One other thing is they were also threatening to beat up another boy to steal some of his snacks he had brought. I forgot to mention that. So,
All of the kids were
swearing. This group of 5 boys.
Yeah.
They've been swearing and kind of cussing each other out. They've been getting physical, like pushing and shoving each other in front of other campers too. So, what would you do?
Go ahead, John.
Yeah. So I am a complete believer that everybody has a place at camp. But sometimes I also believe that their time and their place at camp is not right now. And in similar situations that I've had in the past, there's also grace. I love to give second chances, but when it comes down to, these kids are disrupting the flow of the program. They're disrupting everybody else's opportunity. A lot of it also comes down to it. We are a business in some sense that, we do have people paying to be here that want to be here. How do we navigate those waters? And that can be really tough. I think for me, it would be, give them a couple chances, because we also know their background. We've seen them before. We know that life hasn't been completely fair to everybody. And that's another great thing about camp. We get them all on a fairly level playing field, and we can grow from there. But at some point, it's got to be that kid's choice to be there. And I think with that, I would bring it around on them and say, I really want you here. I think that you could have a lot of fun. I think you could make a lot of great friends, but you have to want to be here, and your actions are not showing me that you want to be here. I think we talked a little bit about this last week with staff members, and it's got to be your choice to be here. So I would have that conversation with them, and if things continue down the path that we didn't want them to, then your time at camp right now has ended, and we really hope to see you back. But hopefully a good, strong conversation and, meeting on their level would be good.
John, that was a good answer. Aaron, what would
I was going
do?
to say, it's very similar to what John said, to be honest, because I don't feel like there's I hate to give like a silly answer to this of like I just send them back, and like I don't like, just because like it's such a good teaching moment and such I don't know, like a serious thing. So I kind of want to go with what John said almost verbatim. The one thing I would want to add is before I like, basically, like if you're hearing about all this in the morning and you learn about all that, I would go grab that youth director and be like, hey, if after breakfast or like during breakfast, do you mind if you and I have some one-on-one? I just need to talk to you. Mm-hmm. And basically communicating that, like, same thing you said, John, you want the kids there because we know that camp is a place that they can grow, and that this is a place to lay it all out on the table and become a better person. Like that's one of the best places to do that, but they have to be willing to do that. And if all they're looking for is to make others' experiences worse, we can't abide that, because this isn't their camp, it's our camp, and we have to be respectful of that. So I'm all for that serious talk of, and telling the youth director, like, I'm not necessarily giving a warning, but like, I'm telling you, like, they've got one more shot. Mm-hmm. And basically the next major infraction, they've got to go. And that's for anybody. If it's all five, it's all five. If it's two of them, it's two of them. But whatever it's going to be. And you kind of have to lay the hammer down on that. And I think by telling the youth director, you would hope there's a sense of obligation of like, man, I need to make sure my kids have this great time because I'm their youth minister and that's one of my responsibilities. But B, they have a more familiar face to say, guys, we've talked about this. You can't act this way. And who knows the other infractions that may have occurred at other places, right? Yeah. He's like, you want to get kicked out like you got kicked out of, blah, blah, like that kind of thing. But John, I think you've said it very well and you phrased it well. I think grace in this moments are huge and such an amazing teaching moment. That's a really hard call, though, because you don't want to ruin other people's experience or even like your counselors' experience, right? Like it's their job to go through these tough times, but they also want you to feel like you're there to support them and to have their back instead of being like, man, tough noogies, good luck.
Buck up, camper, drink some more water.
Yeah. I appreciate you guys' responses. So before I say what happened, I will preface it that I still wonder if we made the right call on what we ended up doing. Because like you said, this is a really difficult situation and there's not really like a perfect answer or anything. That's why I want to talk about it, because we can be vulnerable and say like, I don't know if we made the right choice or not. Right. So after breakfast, I talked to staff that were involved in the situation. I guess I forgot to mention this, that we had their cabin leader had talked to them that night about their behavior. Another cabin leader had come over and talked to them because they were being disruptive and interrupting another cabin as they're trying to sleep. And my program assistant went and talked to them as well about their behavior. So they had three different people all before bedtime, like talk to them about their behavior and their language and their actions towards each other and other campers. Right. So I talked to the youth director and I explained to him the whole situation, what had happened. And he asked me, do you want me to send them home? Like that was the first thing he said. And he...
the youth director said that?
Yep.
That's good.
And he explained, he's like, this year, I know I was a little relaxed last year and I gave them probably more grace than they deserved. He said, this year I told them before we got here, it's a no tolerance. Like, you're already at 3 strikes. Any mistake and you're going home. So I talked to my executive director about it, and he asked me the same thing, and he said, we are going through a lot already, and having these campers, is it going to be more detrimental? Like our staff are not trained to work them through this stuff. Like, that's just not our training, and we want them to be at camp, but is it going to do more harm than good to have them stay?
Right.
So we ended up sending 2 of the 5 boys home.
Yeah.
Like I said, from my interactions with them, I knew one boy admitted to pouring the water on the cabin leader. He was very proud of it. He's like, yeah, I did it. And then one of the 5, he didn't do anything wrong. Like, he was very well behaved. 2 of them, you could tell, just kind of like would get egged on by the others and then would join in, but they weren't the instigators. But 2 of the boys were like, they're the ones kind of starting things.
Right.
So we made the call to send them home, and we went and told them right away, and we told the cabin leader what was happening, and we combined that cabin with our other one because they were now smaller and they could all be together. And it was a really hard call, and it was tough to see these kids' reactions hearing that they're going home. And
did they seem remorseful of that decision, or they're just more like, fine, I'll go home?
One of them, he was very angry, and he was yelling and swearing about it. The other one was just like, whatever, I'm too cool for this kind of thing.
Man.
But it's something I still struggle with because, like, these are both, I mean, they're all kids of color. And I question myself, and I say, would we have had the same reaction if they weren't? Like, would we have reacted in the same way? And part of it is their history. The year before, like, fists being thrown, we had to be more alert for it. I don't know I'd ever had other campers actually throw punches. I've had them get violent and get near there, but I've never had punches thrown. So, but that's also, like, that's part of their community, is they are more expressive physically. And that's how they show their emotions, is through physical actions, not through words, really. So I struggle with it. And if anyone listening has kind of experienced something similar, like, it's hard. It's a hard space to walk in. And I don't know if what we did was right. I do know that after they left, the whole week improved. The rest of the cabin, like, their attitudes improved, their behavior improved. Like, it wasn't perfect. There was still swearing. There was still some physical violence things. Not as aggressive, but it was just how they were showing interactions with each other. They would get physical, but it was hard. So
I hope everyone listening understands the difficult decisions that come with being a program director. It's not just about being the counselor to the counselors. And Jeff, for what it's worth, I think you made the right call, especially given the extra details of, like, they've had their warnings, and the youth director already saying, like, they've been told already. I think the opportunities were given, and I'm going to speak to your camp and the camps we ran specifically. Like, there's the ministry aspect to that. And so you want to be as graceful and forgiving and abiding as you can be. But I think what you said nailed it. Like, the week improved. And hopefully at some point, this is a learning experience. It might not be. It might be a notch on the belt for them.
Yeah.
But everyone listening, like, Jeff's position in this is just awful. And I guarantee it ruined his day.
It totally did.
And so, Jeff, thank you for doing that, or for being that person that has to make that call, because not everyone can do that.
Wow. Yeah. It's never easy to tell somebody no when it comes to camp.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jeff, for sharing.
Yeah. I will add, when the 2 boys are leaving, I hung out with them for a while. I opened up our camp store for them. I was trying to, like, go out of my way to show that I still value them. And I talked to them. I said, I want you guys to know, like, I'm not upset with you. I'm not angry with you. Like, you guys made a mistake. I hope you see that. And I want you to come back. I want you guys to come back next year. I want you to experience camp. This isn't a leave and never come back sort of thing. It's you need to take responsibility for your actions. And the youth director helped echo that as well. He was really good, kind of talking to them and calming them down. But yeah.
How did you debrief with your staff later on?
Ooh, good question.
It's not just the kid and you going through that. It's how did your staff take it? I think personally, I have had a camper who had to go home in the middle of the week when I was a counselor, and I think I felt defeated from that. Were there similar feelings? What was it like?
Yeah, honestly, not really as much. Like I said, their cabin leader, he had them the year before when the fight happened, so he felt the improvement after they left, and was just so thankful that the week was able to turn around, and that the rest of the kids, because the two boys that left, one of them was there the year before, one was not. One was a new camper. The rest of the boys from that church, a lot of them had been there the year before, and they didn't have a great experience. At the end of the week, he asked them, like, how did this compare? And they all said it was better than the year before.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
I think we debriefed with the staff. We just asked how they were feeling about the whole situation. Really, it was very minimal were involved in it. Like, it was just that cabin leader, us on the program staff, and then the cabin they joined up with were involved.
Right. And it might even be one of those situations where it just speaks for itself. Like, what was going on and what improved afterwards, and maybe you don't need a debrief.
Yeah.
But, right. Good. Thank you, Jeff. That was awesome.
Yeah,
thank you, Jeff.
We're getting the heavy stuff last week, this week. Like, let's get deep.
Pressure's on, Aaron.
Yeah.
This is the story of how he dressed up like a cow.
I am intrigued.
I definitely made that up. It's not real.
Speaking of making things up, we've reached the next portion of our podcast where John continues to make up lies about his two co-hosts. So I don't know if you know this, but fun fact about Jeff, his glasses were actually made by Neil Armstrong himself when he
that's a fact
spun out on his bike so fast on the sand that he created glass.
Oh my god!
You can see some tire marks on there.
They were carved out of that.
Man, that's
I think we can all see Aaron's cup that's in his hand, made by Thor, the god himself.
Is mine too.
But and that's it. That's the second portion in the show where John lies. Thank you everybody for listening into this one time at summer camp. If you'd like to get a hold of us, you can email us at this one time at summer camp. Or what? Yeah. Oh no, that's right. This one time at summercamp@gmail.com.
You got it.
You can also find us on the Twitter and the Facebook.
We don't tweet. Don't go there.
Oh, we don't tweet?
No.
Oh, Instagram.
No, we don't have Instagram.
We're running the Instagram, John. Don't.
Facebook. Go to Facebook.
What do we have? Facebook.
Facebook.
You can find us on Facebook.
And newly added in this week.
Oh.
YouTube.
Oh, yeah, YouTube. This is our second recorded video.
Yeah.
You can see Aaron's lovely blonde shoulders. You can see my lovely face behind Jeff. And you can see my lovely face, period.
Twice.
Twice?
They're looking at each other.
Wait, which one is John?
Oh, what? I get it.
My nose. All right. Hey, and if you've got a story to share about a time that was very similar to Jeff's story, or any other stories that you've heard, please write to us. We'd love to hear it, and we'd love to share it on the podcast for next week. Otherwise, email Aaron. He's going to send you a sticker with... Only if you share a story.
No. You have to be a guest. You have to be a guest on the show for you to get a sticker.
Okay.
You know how hard this is. I'm still trying to figure out what to do about the goofy Mississippi River Swamp Rats episode. I don't know what to do about those.
That's a bumper sticker in itself.
It really is.
Anyway, thank you everybody for coming. I am John. This is Jeff. Say hi, Jeff.
Yeah, hi, Jeff.
Say bye, Jeff.
Bye, Jeff.
Say hi, Aaron.
Hi, Aaron. Oh, wait.
Say bye, Aaron.
Bye, Aaron.
All right. And you've just heard us talk. This is that one time, this one time at summer camp. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Peace out.